All right, it's autumn, and that means apples. And I just bought a bag of apples, which is they're a little hard to get here in Japan to get a lot of apples. I mean, they're pretty expensive, but this is a pretty decent price. 6 apples. So I made apple cobbler. Yeah, you've got the caramelly, so I call this caramel apple cobbler because there's a caramelly sauce in there. And then on top is like scones. I make a kind of scone topping. Throw it all in the oven, bake it. Be careful because it's hot. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. It could only be even better. Serve some up in a bowl and throw some vanilla ice cream or whipping cream on top. Oh, heavenly. So let's go in the kitchen and make this right now. All right, for this caramel apple cobbler, we've got 3 different groups of ingredients here. One is for the apples, one is for the biscuit topping, and one is for the caramel sauce. So let's go over them one at a time. The caramel sauce. What I've got here is a half a cup of butter, 1 teaspoon of salt, because it's like a salted caramel, and I've got 2/3 of a cup of unrefined cane sugar. I love this stuff, really good. And then here I've got a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. Then for the apples themselves, well, there's the apples, which are about 5 to 6 apples. These are a decent sized apple, and I think they're not really big ones. They're the smaller size in Japan. We have big apples here. So I use 6 of them. So if you want for the weight, that's about 2 pounds. It's just a little bit over 2 pounds or 900 grams, and it's just roughly chopped like that. Okay. And then I've got a half a cup of my sugar again, the unrefined cane sugar. I've got 1 teaspoon of cinnamon powder and a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, because nutmeg's quite overpowering, so you just want a little bit of that. Then for the crust topping here, I've got 2 cups of flour. I've got a half a cup of that heavy cream. May not need it all, but you never know exactly how much it's going to drink. So put a half a cup there. Might only use about 1/3 of a cup. Then half a cup of that sugar again, a teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and I've got here 3/4 of a cup of butter, and I've chopped up into small pieces and then put it back in the refrigerator. I want it good and cold. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the caramel sauce. That means I'm going to take this butter, toss it in the frying pan. Notice I'm using the big cast iron pot because that's what we're going to bake it into. But first, we're going to use it to make our caramel sauce. So let's get that butter melting. All right, butter is melted, so I'm going to put in the sugar and the salt. Get that little stir around first. Get that started to melt. What we'll do is we'll dissolve that sugar in that butter until we get like a caramel. I'm doing this over about just a little under medium heat. I don't want to burn it, so kind of a medium-low heat. All right, now the butter and the sugar are starting to come together. Before they were separating, so this is looking good. All right, turn the heat down, and now I'm going to mix in that cream. Oh, yes. Now I'll turn the heat off. Got enough heat in that pan to keep it going. And there, we've got a wonderful caramel sauce. I don't want it too thick. Like, I'm not going to cook it to a thick caramel because it's going to go in the oven and bake. Just like this is exactly what I want, because I want it to mix in with those apples nicely. Look at that. Now, usually when you cook a caramel, you cook it till it got thicker, but for this, we don't need it too thick, so this is just perfect. All right, so I've turned the heat off. We'll leave that there. What I do now is get the apples ready. So, more sugar. Oops. We're going to take this. Going to toss the sugar on the apples, the nutmeg, and the cinnamon. I just want to mix this before it goes in there, so I'm getting sugar and nutmeg and cinnamon a little bit distributed. Doesn't have to be perfect, just like that, a little bit, good enough. Gonna go in here now. And let's keep that bowl because we're going to reuse that. It doesn't matter, there's a little bit of cinnamon there. We're going to reuse that for making the dough that goes on top. All right, whoa, don't go overboard. So now, going to mix this around a bit. I want to get that caramel sauce spread out throughout the apples. Now what's going to happen is the apples are going to be, as they start cooking, they're going to add some juices into there. So this is just going to be absolutely delicious. All right, so there we go. That's looking good. I got everything's coated with a bit of caramel sauce. Perfect. All right, I'm going to get the food processor set up. I've only got so much counter space. We'll see you back here in a minute. All right, we got the food processor with the blade in. So I'm going to add the flour, sugar, salt, baking powder. Now I'm just going to quickly zap that a bit to get that all combined around, and then we're going to add in the butter. So. All right, that's good. Now the butter goes in. And what I want to do now is I'm going to pulse this until we get the flour, the butter, and everything in those little grains, coarse grains of sand, about that size, and then that's perfect. Have a look down inside there. So just kind of run it through your hands. You go, okay, yeah, we got a couple little pieces of butter throughout, but nothing too big. Perfect. So what I want to do now is get it back into that bowl, and then we can get the food processor out of the way. All right, that down at one end here. Okay. What I want to do now, I need my spoon. That guy's already all coated with caramel sauce. We use a wooden spoon, kind of stir that around a bit in there. Oh, that is looking absolutely perfect. Now what we want to do is we want to start adding in the cream, but you do not want to overwork this. We want like a scone. So if you've ever had a scone here in Japan, in most places they're going to be terrible. They don't understand that you don't overwork the dough. So you get these hard scones, which is like a hard biscuit basically. A scone should be flaky, and that's what we're going to try to go for. You get a little bit of flakiness on top there, so it just falls apart when you eat it. Oh, that's delicious. That's what we want. So you don't want to overwork your flour or your dough. So you kind of make a little well in the center and just pour a little bit of that cream in there. And then I just carefully work it around, cut through, start bringing it together. All right, we're going to need some more cream. So we add that in there. It's going to just come together, and that's what we want. Look at that, starting to. That's looking good. We've got a little bit of dry still, so I'm going to add some more of that cream along here where I see some dry. We'll probably end up using all of it. Okay, what you want to do now is you give it the test. You go in, you grab a little bit, squeeze it together. That's perfect. We don't need it all. All right, so that's good to go. What I want to do now is kind of bring this together into a ball. Bring it onto the counter. It's a messy job, but yeah, it's fun. Squish it together. Now you don't want to work it too long too, because you see, you don't want your heat from your hands to melt that butter. This stuff is terrible to make in summer. I wouldn't even try this in summer. It's gotten cool in here. This is a perfect autumn dish. Now you could use a rolling pin if you want, but I just kind of go like this and go like, oh yeah, okay, what size is that? How big is our pot? How about like that? Okay. There we go. See, this is just rough. I mean, this does not have to be beautiful. Just like that. That's good. We haven't overworked it. It's going to be beautiful when it bakes in there. All right. Well, now, get in there. All right. What we're going to do now is just give this a little stir. Again, look at this. Can you see how juicy this has gotten just from the apples sitting in there? And now you got that caramelness throughout. Wonderful. So I put that down like that. Now what I'm going to do here is to make this easier to handle, cut this into quarters and just bring that up. On we go. Oh, get on there. All right. On you go. Bring that together a bit and slap that on there. Okay. Jam that into there. There. This is just a kind of a messy job. It's going to make a messier kitchen, but it's going to make for a fantastic topping. All right, so pat that down all around. And that's it. All right, that's going to the oven over there at 350 for about 40 to 45 minutes. And then dessert time. See you then. All right, that's one heavy pot of goodness there. Okay, that's just come out of the oven. And it's just looking fantastic. It's bubbling way down the side there. And you've got your biscuit topping here, or like it's sort of like scone. Oh yeah, crumbly, perfect. That's what I wanted. You go down in here, and get a little of that sauce in there. It's gonna be hot. Do I dare? How brave am I? Oh yeah, it's hot. Oh, oh. Mm-hmm. Don't follow my example and try to eat it right away, but oh man, that is good. Oh. All right. You let that cool down for a while. Come down to less than volcanic heat, and then it should be good. We had like a little blowhole right here. It keeps bubbling out. That is going to be fantastic. I mean, it's just dessert. Now, you could eat this just like it is, but you know what? I'll bet this would be nice if you serve some up in a bowl, throw some vanilla ice cream on top or whipped cream or something. Oh, talk about going from heavenly to totally divine. Yes. So, enjoy that. All right, so if you like this recipe, and how could you not like this recipe, then stick around and check out. There's a lot more, and there's actually a couple of apple recipes we've been doing lately because it's apple season. Apple pie cake, check that. That's nearby. The apple muffins, they were delicious. Oh, they were so good. They just got wolfed down. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, and if it's your first time here, do that, and also click that notification bell, because that makes sure that you always see when a new recipe is coming out. We do this once a week. I've been doing this for years now. So There's a lot of recipes for you to look at. All right, now go make this and make cooking fun again with Kuma's Kitchen.